today will soon be the most looked back on as the most opportune moment that most people miss because they were too busy focusing on, oh, we're getting shut down. Oh shit, the world sucks. Oh wow, there's no brick and mortars anymore. How am I going to do it? People aren't even buying anymore. They don't even have money. Everyone's fired. Nobody has a job. How can I afford to buy my product? They're spending time thinking that way instead of what are people worried about today? What are the new habits? What are they doing? And I can promise you big companies move a lot slower than you can. And that's where you have the upper hand right now. Anybody listening right now, you have speed of innovation and speed of movement that a big company that has money, that has resources, has employees, has connections that you're like, I don't have any of those. You have speed. And I think being very aware and cognizant that you have speed is a massive advantage in a fast changing world today.
Welcome to the Viral by Design podcast with Dave Rotherow, where we get inside the minds of today's leading viral marketers as they reveal the exact strategies they use to build brands, products, and campaigns that are magnetic to customers, spread like wildfire, and seize the attention of millions. This is Viral by Design.
So welcome to another episode of Viral by Design. I'm very excited today to be joined by Mr. Anthony Sarandrea. Anthony is one of the top lead generators on the planet, specializing in financial services. He runs a team that drove over 1 million customers in 2018 alone. He runs a profitable portfolio of websites ranging from commerce to content blogs that reach a collective 1 million buyers every single month and drive over 4,000 inbound calls every single day via internal websites as an affiliate. He's regularly featured as one of the top 30 under 30 entrepreneurs and was recently featured alongside the famous Snapchat founder, Evan Spiegel, as one of the entrepreneurs changing the world. So, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Hey, what's up, brother? Appreciate you having me.
Happy days, man. So I'd love to understand a bit more about your process and how it works. So obviously, I run an advertising agency, and everything we do is about like buying media and having a very finite kind of thought process about where that media goes. I get the impression with you, with this kind of the portfolio websites that you've got, you funnel traffic through in a slightly different way. So do you mind kind of sharing what your process is?
Yeah, for sure. So I originally started an internet marketing agency, traditional hire on a percent of spend or flat fee or whatever that was. And I think the challenge was we weren't able to deeply understand any brands or any industries, if you will. So we quickly pivoted to niche down, to only focus on specific types of companies. And then we pivoted to productize the service, right? So instead of paying $5,000 a month or 15% ad spend, we said, hey, every customer we drive, you can pay us $10, $20, $50, whatever that is. And what that forced us to do was put our money where our mouth was, right? So it forced us to A, wear all the risk, B, deeply understand the markets that we were advertising in and what we were doing. So yeah, so the process is much different since, again, too, we're literally spending our own money, and if we're not doing a good day or a good week, I'm losing money out of my pocket. If we're doing great, we're getting rewarded for that. So the incentivization's aligned. And then as far as like in the weeds, to your point, I think it becomes a lot easier. You know, we can talk tactically on media buying on Facebook, Instagram, all the other platforms, but you know, if we zoom out from a 10,000 foot level, I think the best marketers are those that aggressively understand their customer. So I joke, I'm a method actor where I will purposefully, strategically default on medical bills if I'm doing something in debt relief and understand the anxiety that you feel when I'm going in the mailbox to, you know, I always tell that story because it's true. The anxiety I feel checking the mailbox, or I had to shut off my phone at night because I was getting so many debt collector calls in the morning. And I think it's that level of intimacy of understanding your customer that allows you to write different copy, write different landing pages, do different funnels, different video ads, whatever that is. So yeah, happy to dive deeper into all that. But at a 10,000 foot level, that's really the process we take today and why I think we're so successful.
That's fascinating, man. I love that concept of method acting as well. That's really cool. And you know, understanding, as you say, the customer at a really visceral, deep level. So in regards to now, like, where do you sit in that process? Obviously, you're managing a team. Are you writing the copy? Are you coming up with the ideas, or are you just feeding it, kind of pulling all the strings?
Yeah, thanks. So at this point, I have about 30 team members that work for the team full time. So I'm more and more pulled out of the weeds. Like I haven't launched a Facebook ad in probably 3-4 years at this point. I went from that to strategy. So I was very heavy in strategy. And I think mostly because I enjoy it so much, I still get pulled back into the strategy discussions and conversations. But really, in a lot of ways, I'm looking out for new markets for us to get into. So new products or services that are just a quick little pivot to the side of what we're currently doing. I'm looking at where there's levers we can pull within the business. So is our top media buyer allocating his resources to the right type of products on the right platforms with the right team members? So it's this consistent kind of reflection and analysis of, got it, we've got all these moving parts in this machine. What parts need to be oiled a little bit more? What parts need to slow down? Which parts need to speed up? And I think, it takes that really protection around your schedule as a business owner, even if you're buying media today, of that consistent trying to focus, because I think we're cursed as marketers. I think a lot of people on here are great marketers, I would assume. And we're cursed because we can market anything. So that means I see a notepad and I'm like, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to run a notepad company. And then all of a sudden I see a pillow and I'm like, I'm going to run a pillow company. And in my head, I can, because I know how to market. But if I do that all day long, I'm a jack of all, master of none. So it's really, my job is not only for myself, but for the team to continuously pull back focus on doubling down what's working today, not just where the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I hope not all the time. So the parts that are, if TikTok is miserably horrible, but Snapchat is crushing it through the moon, the tendency, I think human nature, even for myself, is we got to fix TikTok. It sucks, versus hold on. Yes, let's put some efforts back towards that, but let's actually double, triple down on what's working and being okay that this isn't working today while we know that this one is. Because it's too often, I think I'll speak for myself, found myself going over here and being like, okay, let me fix this. Now all of a sudden I'm filling leaky bucket holes, but I'm not focused on what's actually winning and making money today. And you can apply that to team members that you're spending time with, clients you're talking to, platforms you're spending on, campaigns you're running, angles, whatever that I think that same approach fits for any part of your business life.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really interesting strategy, because the 80-20 rule is ever present, right? There's always something which is like just performing way better results. And it makes a lot of sense just to double down on what's actually doing well, especially when it comes to media buying. You can just crank it up, right?
I'd say just to piggyback on that too. I read a quote the other day. Most people spend more time designing their next vacation than they do designing their life. And, one thing, working on the internet, and I assume a lot of people listening work on the internet, up until probably about 6, 7, 8 months ago, my life was wake up at, call it 8 or 9 a.m., straight on Slack, work, meetings, boom, 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 get a workout in, hang out with my girlfriend for 15 minutes, maybe, I'm joking, but all of a sudden now it's 2 a.m., I'm working, I shut the laptop, I go to bed, and I'm just running like this. And it's really, for me, I've seen not only my life quality get better, but my team's life quality get better and our business grow by putting 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night to really reflect on, and people call it, this term meditation gets thrown around all the time. Really, for me, that means strategically reflecting on life and designing where do we want to go, what is working today, what's not. So I'll go to the park with a notepad and I'll just spend 30 minutes. And every day, every morning, every night, what went well today, I play back the whole day in my head. In the morning, I'll play around and I'll just let it flow and think. But that schedule blocked out time to spend that time analyzing your life and your business, really, I think it's the probably most fundamental thing we can ever do. You don't ever wonder why somebody who's really jacked and looks good, you're like, oh, they eat well and work out. You don't wonder that. A smart person, you don't go, I wonder why they're smart. Well, they probably read a lot of books and they're probably good. But a happy person or somebody who is on fire all day long, we're like, oh, they were born that way. No, they weren't. They practice it every single morning, every single evening, and they're analyzing their life and they're saying, where do I want to, so I'm talking about life now more, but the same goes for your business, spending that time blocked out every day, 30 minutes on what are we doing well? What could we be doing better? Let me just think through, what do I like doing? What do I not? And there's no really set rules or boundaries on it other than no technology, no distractions. You're by yourself and you're thinking.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. It's a completely different mindset when you're up against the coalface, right? When you just like in it all day long. You never get that time to actually sit and reflect. Funnily enough, I just did a post today, literally an hour or so ago on Facebook about exactly this. Like I rounded out a 12 series post on, so it's the 12 biohacks of Christmas. And like the last one was actually taking breaks and meditation. I think it sounds so simple that it can't be that effective, right? Or that's how your mind justifies it. It can't be this good. It's simple. Just take 30 minutes to yourself. Be kind to yourself, But it's huge, right? It's so impactful.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Nice, man. So you actually use paid traffic from all these different platforms and then you siphon them into, is it entirely affiliate offers or do you build offers for yourself as well entirely?
Yeah, great question. So it started again too with for hire service, and then it moved to entirely affiliate. So it's paid traffic, spending tens of thousands of dollars a day. really at the end of the day, arbitraging traffic, right? Like if I drive a customer to your notebook company and you're paying me $5, I can drive them to $3. I'm arbitraging the traffic. I make the $2 in between. What we've started to graduate and move into is actually reinvesting those profits and that money into actually buying equity into call centers or even starting our own things like that. So in this example, it would be, buying equity into a notebook company. So I made a few mistakes along the way. One was I tried to start a notebook company. And, if you've ever read the book Zero to One, it talks about how hard it is to go from 0 to 1 and how easy it is to go from 1 to 10 or 1 to 2 or 1 to 100. And the challenges with myself is I started in this case, a call center. And not that I maybe don't know how to do it or I wouldn't be good at it or my background's not in it, but it's not my core competency today. And it not only dragged attention, but it dragged a lot of money and a lot of time, effort. And really, we lost a ton of opportunity costs and money along the way. And what I really found now was, okay, can we get involved with companies that are already doing good revenues, already doing good money? Can I put some money towards that to really share in the upside, whether it's the sellability of the company, the lifetime value of the customer? How can I get in bed with them where I can help fine tweak some of their processes, which allows them to pay more for, an upsell on a notebook company where now they can pay $8 instead of $5 for it because I've helped with the processes along the way. So today it's a mixture of both. And I'm excited to say that. And I've fallen on my face a lot throughout the process. And, I was just talking to an individual yesterday who a lot of us marketers or people in general are around. I assume you're around my age too. We stack cash and it's just sitting there. And I said that you just have money just sitting there. And I'm guilty of this too. And it's just sitting there. And if I'm betting on myself, if I go back and look at my 10-year history, I have trajectory, not that I've had dips along the way, but if you look at it, it's a line of this from income growth, whatever you want to measure it by, it goes like this. Again, it goes like this, but really in a straight line. So, if you're listening to this and you have any amount of money in your bank account, of course, make sure your expenses are covered, things like that. But how can you reinvest that back in the business? And us as marketers, sometimes we think it's okay. Can we, spend more media, or can we, hire another individual? Great. And yes to both of those. But where else can you be putting that money to work that's also allowing you to focus, again, the 80-20 rule, 80% on where your core competencies are today, but 20% dipping into the future. So for me, a call center or an insurance company is infinitely more sellable and more profitable than an affiliate company. So I know that's my future, but my mistake I've made is I've sometimes jumped 60% into that future. 10, 15, 20% into that, honestly, even 5% into that now is where I'm laying today. And as that starts growing legs, I can start putting more time and energy and effort to that. But most of us, and I'll speak to myself too, for years, sat with 0% on the future. It was just like you said, staring at the coals. Great, here's what's working today. Got some money, maybe I'll buy Bitcoin with it. Maybe I'll do this. I'm not saying don't do that, but if you're a great marketer and you're making money for companies, there's ways to move up the value chain in that, even if it's a small investment or a time investment, whatever that is, to share in really the lifetime value again of the customer, or share in the enterprise value of a sale, or be able to, get paid more for the work you're doing, and for lack of better words.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's really great advice. So I guess that segues nicely into the question, for somebody starting up, in say you to look back on your entrepreneurial career, what would your advice be in terms of where to actually get started?
Yeah, this is not a family-friendly sentence, but I'm a big fan of playing with other people's money. And what I mean by that is and I'll just talk about my journey. Doesn't mean there isn't 50 different ways to do it. My journey was somebody paid me to play with their money. I can't think of a better scenario. I literally got paid to manage, at that time, Google AdWords for a company. And I was like, wow, I'm getting paid on the clock to learn this stuff. And I think a lot of times nowadays we see drop shipping, we hear the affiliate model, we're maybe running a great agency and we're like, fuck man, like how do I not have clients? Like we hear all this stuff and it pulls us. And it's like these quick get rich movements where, are you truly a master at what you're doing? Are you truly the best YouTube ad buyer? Are you truly the best Facebook ad buyer? At that point, if you're actually making your clients money, great. Then you can go off and start doing things on your own maybe, but you've got a steep learning curve. It's not a one hit easy wonder. But if you're asking me where to start out, it really is. My journey was in a hire for service relationship. I think service-based industries generally have high margins, which is great. Again, until you're getting paid to play around with other people's money, you don't theoretically have any money going out, maybe to an employee or two. You have money coming in. It's as good as long as you can keep them on, things like that. So even if you can't get someone to pay you to run their ads today, get someone play with their money for free. So if you're just starting out, see if there's a local coffee shop that's spending $10, $20 a day. Hey, can I manage your Facebook ads for free? I'll do it for free. I know you're the business owner, you're busy. I'll never spend more than $20. And if I can start getting some more foot traffic in here, maybe we can work something out. Obviously don't start there, but even if at a minimum, you'd have to be a knucklehead to not be able to find someone who you can manage something for free or watch something for free under them. But I think this idea of going, from cold clean to saying how you can become a millionaire overnight on the internet, you start a drop shipping company, there's a very small percentage of people that actually make that work out of the gate because they haven't mastered the skills, in my opinion, the leading skills that are needed up to that. Like, I was a great sales guy before I was a great marketer. And I'm a great marketer before I was a great manager. Before I was a great manager, before I was a great business owner. And I still have levels to go and go and go. Before I'm a good investor, I need to become a better business owner. But for me, my roots was being a great sales guy. That doesn't mean that's anybody listening's roots as well too. But I'm not saying that to demotivate someone. I'm saying that to put it realistic, because what I find too often is you put $3,000 towards a course, you spend $5,000 on a drop shipping ads, and you're $8,000 in the hole, and you say, F this, I can't make this work, and I'm not a good internet marketer. When really you didn't set the playing field right out for you to be successful, in my opinion, out of the gate. You give yourself a chance to succeed.
It's like this weird dynamic, isn't it? Because, if you think about drop shipping courses, I'm sure people can have success with those things if they're at a certain level, if they've got that certain mindset. I think mindset is a huge part of it as well, right? But I love your message there about like finding something which is realistic, and realistic doesn't necessarily have to mean boring or doesn't necessarily need to mean substandard. It's like getting yourself on the ladder and then ratcheting up, right? For sure.
And and again, that's not a sexy conversation. What some people would say, take every dollar out of your bank account and throw it into Facebook today and fucking go for it. And you won't fail because you're not failing. And I'm cool with that. I love that attitude. But what I don't love is the burnout if it doesn't work, like a quick pop. Like if in your head, you're like, this is easy. I take a course, I'm running it and I'm going. That expectation, I guess is really what I'm trying to set. So you can definitely, and I have many friends that never did sales, never were on the internet. And all of a sudden they took a dropshipping course and they made money. But I would guarantee you their expectations were a lot different than most people go into starting something as. Their expectation was not, I'm going to be a millionaire overnight. $5,000 in, if I'm not making money, fuck this. I'll quit my day job, all this stuff. Like, I'm assuming I would venture to guess their expectations were a lot more in alignment with realistic, what needs to be done to get there. Because, and again, I don't know your age, but for me, growing up, the challenge was, can I make $100,000? Can I make $1 million? Like, I don't know. I was a fucking vicious hard worker. I didn't know if that was possible. I never seen it. My dad didn't. I didn't know. Today with Instagram, I've got a 19-year-old brother. He sees everyone with a Lamborghini and everybody with just like this. They're like, holy shit, I saw that guy at the coffee shop 2 days ago. Now he's got a Maserati. Like, where's mine? So the lift is up there. He goes, I can do it. I see it everywhere. But then when he doesn't have it in an Instagram scroll, it creeps in depression. It creeps in just suppressed hard work. And it's tough to work hard when you just think you should have it in 10 seconds kind of thing. And I think that's such an important message for really anybody in their 20s and younger at this point, growing up with the Instagram lifestyle and seeing that and seeing people do stuff quick. I think it's very important to check yourself that, yes, it's possible. Yes, you can take a course and go through the moon, but there's a lot of work that goes there and there's a lot of falling on your face that goes there before. And just be like you said, mentally prepped and ready for that before you go in. Because if you think I take a course and in 3 days I'm going to be a millionaire, which might sound funny, but most of the people listening on this are probably thinking that if they're starting something like, I heard millionaires on the internet, I can do it. I'm going to do it by January 30th. I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Realistically, there's a lot of work to get there to do it. It's not that it can't happen. I think you see too many messages that it can happen. So my point on this Zoom call is, it definitely can happen. You see it every day. It's what it takes to get there is the missing piece. And I think people are missing that today. Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right, man. There's definitely be interesting at least to see how this progresses in the coming years with these younger kids growing up and this, as you say, the things that do creep in terms of depression and lack of self-worth, because they're seeing all these people around them. I think I don't know about you, when I first decided to get into business for myself, quit my job, I went to an event in central London and had a guy say, hey, listen, it's, if you want to start a business, it's probably going to take you 5 years to get anywhere near where you want to be. So, and my response to that was like, oh shit, I better get started right now then, because I don't want to be waiting any longer than necessary. But I'm curious to hear about like your experience getting into business and what that kind of slope was like for you to get to where you are today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I started off, I love people, talking to people. So the idea of working on the internet is like was miserable to me 10 years ago. Like sitting in front of a computer for hours a day, even doing this, not like out and about, was miserable. So it was a miserable concept, but, and I'll talk to how I got to this level, but really my journey is I started, again, loving talking to people. And I started saying, okay, where can I make the most money without sitting in an office, which again is funny because I do the opposite today, sitting in front of a computer. I said, okay, sales, door-to-door sales. So I went door-to-door selling solar hot water systems in 120-degree Arizona heat. And I learned very quickly, I didn't realize it at the time, but a lot of principles that I now use on the internet today were very relevant there. You have to gain trust within a half a second, someone opening that door. You have to stay resilient again in business, how to handle adversity. 50 doors slam, the 51st one, you have to go up to every single one. Like, this is the one, this is the guy that's going to buy today, kind of thing. And the sales process and everything around that, psychology, I was obsessed with psychology. So really I did that, and to the point where I was working crazy hours. And then I said, okay, how, nice. I'm outside, I'm talking to people, goal check. What's missing from today? And again, it gets back to that analysis we talked about at the beginning. What's missing today that I'd like to work towards? Not what am I miserable with? It's what would I like to work towards? And for me, it was, how do I sell without having to be physically or geographically present? Like, how can I sell without me having to work 60 hours a week? I realized I only get so many hours in the day. And really it took for me, I always tell a story. I saw a guy shooting a basketball on a Tuesday during the day on one of my lunch breaks. I said, what do you do? And he said, I work on the internet. And I had no idea what that meant, but I knew I wanted to play basketball on a Tuesday during the day. So I said, can I come shadow you? Can I come work for you for free? And he actually at first said no. And I didn't understand the value of time at that point. I was like, why? Someone's going to work for you for free. You don't have to pay him anything. Like, why would you not take me up? And I realized because he's paying me in his time. So after begging and following up and following up and following up and following up and following up, finally he said, yeah, come work for me for free. I worked for him for free. At the same time, I got connected with a buddy who was really strong at internet marketing, showed me the ropes, later became my business partner, which he still is today. And through that, through that sales experience, and then now understanding and knowing the internet, I started an internet marketing agency. So I had one client who actually, it was really like an internship, which is funny, that paid me hourly remotely at the time. Everybody's remote now, but for me, it was dope. I was like hourly, remotely, sick to manage this guy's Google AdWords. Did a really good job for him. He referred me to someone else, did a really good job for them, referred me to someone else. And I think that same principle of just not, we talk about starry-eyed, like same thing with clients. Like, I'm not, your best client's the client you have today, right? Like, how do you over-service the hell out of that person so that A, they can grow with you and they can pay you more, B, you can sell them other services that actually add value, or C, how can they refer you? And it's laughable to me that I built a multi-million-dollar marketing agency at the time without spending $1 on marketing. And it was all through referrals. And it all came from just trying to service the shit out of these people and service them to a deep, intimate level. And, you fast forward today, we take that same approach at a much higher scale and a much, different model where now it's productized, but the principles are still the same. It's how, even today, it's not how cheap can I drive a lead in or a notebook customer. It's not how cheap can I get this. It's how can I find the highest lifetime value of someone who's going to buy 50 notebooks, even if I'm only getting paid $3 today? Because I know through conversations, if I can show that I'm driving a guy that buys 50 notebooks throughout his life, you can afford to pay me more money. So how can I add value to the company, which then adds more money into my pocket? It's the exact same principle, which has just helped me grow, whether that's, again, selling door to door, an internet marketing agency, or running call centers, really.
That's awesome, man. Some incredible advice there, and absolutely, working up those referral, those kind of viral referrals, like absolutely on board with that, man. Like just high quality service for sure all the way. So, what are you most excited about for 2021? Like, what are you working on now? And what do you see being the biggest thing for you?
Yeah, thanks. I think the biggest thing for me is, like I mentioned, getting more in bed with actual people I'm sending clients to. So if I'm sending customers to Geico, probably can't invest in Geico, at least not to where they'll actually listen to me. But can I find a smaller insurance agency that I can come in and purchase or give sweat equity to? Say, hey, I can be the marketing machine if you guys can be the operator, things like that. So it's really putting my a couple pebbles in a few different places and seeing that don't take a ton of my time that I can add value to, whether it's money or more pertinent to this call through my expertise, which is marketing and sales. So can I put a few pebbles? Because again, I told the story of putting the boulder in there. I said, I'm going to start my own call center and put all this time, energy, money into this. And I'm a big believer. Can you spread your pebbles across a number of things that don't take a lot of your time, that are relatively passive? And then as one of those starts to make a big ripple, you go, wow, that must be a really deep ocean over there. Let me go put some more time towards that if you're following the analogy. So it's, I'm really, really excited about, graduating from how can I find better angles online? How can we drive cheaper stuff? How can we find different platforms to, how can I increase the lifetime value of my customer, which in this case is, owning equity in the call center or buying an insurance agency or buying a fintech company or something along those lines, or working with. So I'm really excited about that. Amongst just to see the world today, just, it's very easy. Like we talked about, I said, you're shutting down too, right? And I don't want to think about that, because you're right. That's the right way to move, because it's like, got it. That's the fact, but we don't need to ruminate on the fact. So a lot of people are, wow, like business got thrown up beside its head. Our business grew heavily. And why? Because it's not because product lines didn't drop. 50% of our business in April went to zero. So imagine 50% going down to zero. We brought in other product lines and things because it was great. Where there are other opportunities, today will soon be the most looked back on as the most opportune moment that most people miss, because they were too busy focusing on, we're getting shut down. Oh shit, the world sucks. Oh wow, there's no brick and mortars anymore. How am I going to do it? People aren't even buying anymore. They don't even have money. Everyone's fired. Nobody has a job. How can I afford to buy my product? They're spending time thinking that way instead of, what are people worried about today? What are the new habits? What are they doing? And I can promise you, big companies move a lot slower than you can. And that's where you have the upper hand right now. Anybody listening right now, you have speed of innovation and speed of movement that a big company that has money, that has resources, has employees, has connections, that you're like, I don't have any of those. You have speed. And I think being very aware and cognizant that you have speed is a massive advantage in a fast changing world today. When things are stable, still an advantage, but maybe not as big. When things are moving and we might get shut down tomorrow, there may be a stimulus check. There may not be. I don't know what's going to happen. There could be a second wave. You're able to adjust and be malleable a lot faster than other companies. I think taking that to heart and being very excited about that opportunity is something I'm really excited to not just implore with myself, but my business, but my customers and my team and beyond that too. And I hope anybody listening is as well too. It's very exciting times we're in right now. Not that people are sick and dying, very exciting from an opportunity standpoint to be able to add a lot of value to a very fast changing market.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. And, I think anybody that adopts that mentality, like the outcome focused, solution focused and opportunity focused mindset, it's just, it's much better off for the human race in entirety, to be honest. Dude, thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. Like there's absolutely wealth of knowledge in here for anybody that's, looking to either get started or to grow the business to the next level. Where can people find out a bit more about what you do or follow you?
For sure, bro. Yeah, I'm relatively active on Instagram. So it's just my first to last name, Anthony Sarandrea. Feel free to shoot me a message there, or my website. If you have a message on the contact form, I get to all of those. It might take me a week or two to respond back, but I respond back to everybody free of charge. And I love this stuff. I love adding value. I had a ton of podcasts, at the time, mentors and books that helped me get to where I am today. So any way I can help and give back in that respect, I think I get more value out of that today than something monetarily. So I'm excited to be able to do that.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. We'll make sure all those links are in and around the podcast wherever it's listed. Thanks so much for joining us, and speak very soon.
Thanks, Dave. Later, bro.
Thanks, man.
This has been the Viral by Design podcast with Dave Rotherow. For more viral marketing secrets and to get detailed cliff notes on all episodes, visit viralbydesign.net.